"I just want to buy this suit." 7 simple words. But the way the clerk looked at him, you'd think he'd just asked for a free diamond. Her eyes flicked over him, not in curiosity, but in calculation. And in that moment, she had already decided who he was. The store was quiet that afternoon. One of those high-end boutiques where the air smells faintly of imported leather, and the lighting is soft enough to make every fabric look like it belongs in a magazine. The racks were spaced far apart, each holding only a handful of carefully chosen pieces. The kind of place where silence feels expensive. The floor was polished to a mirror shine, reflecting the warm glow of the overhead lights. Somewhere in the background, soft jazz played, the kind of music that makes you feel like you should be holding a glass of wine, not a shopping bag. And in the middle of it all stood a man who didn't look like he belonged there. He was in his mid-50s, jeans faded from years of wear, a jacket that had lost its shape, shoes that had walked more miles than they should have. His hair was a little messy, and his hands, they were the kind of hands that told stories. Calloused, strong, the kind of hands that had built things. In his grip was a charcoal gray suit, not flashy, not loud, but tailored in a way that whispered quality. The clerk, early 20s, sharp eyeliner, name tag that read Samantha, stepped forward. Her smile was thin, polite in the way a locked door is polite. "Sir," she said, drawing out the word like it was a warning, "that suit is quite pricey." He nodded. "I know. I'd like to buy it." Her gaze dropped to his shoes, then climbed back up slowly, as if she were scanning a barcode. "We have some more affordable options in the back," she offered. He chuckled softly. "I'm sure you do, but I want this one." She tilted her head, the way people do when they're trying to be polite, but can't quite hide the judgment. "It's just, we usually require a deposit before alterations. You understand." Her tone was dipped in something sweet, but the sweetness was artificial. She asked if he was just browsing. She suggested he try something more casual. She even offered to show him the clearance rack. He stayed calm, patient, almost amused. "Do you work here often?" he asked. "Full time," she said proudly. "I know all our regulars." He smiled. "Guess I'm not one of them." "No offense," she said, "but no?" He didn't move, just stood there, holding the suit, letting the silence stretch. The store's faint background music, some soft jazz, filled the space between them. She shifted her weight, clearly uncomfortable. "Sir, I just don't want you to be disappointed," she said. "Why would I be disappointed?" he replied. "Well, sometimes people don't realize how much these things cost." He looked at the price tag. 4,200. Her eyebrows lifted. "Exactly," she said. He nodded. "All right, I'll take it." She blinked. "You will?" "Yes. I told you. I want this suit." Her lips pressed together in a thin line, as if she was trying to decide whether to believe him. "Of course," she said finally, her voice still carrying that faint edge of disbelief. She reached for the suit, but he didn't let go right away. Their eyes met, his calm, hers uncertain, before he finally released it into her hands. She carried it toward the counter, her heels clicking against the polished floor. The sound echoed in the quiet store, each step feeling like it took longer than it should. He followed at a slow pace, his gaze wandering over the racks as if he had all the time in the world. Behind the counter, she laid the suit down carefully, smoothing the fabric with her hands. "Would you like to try it on first?" she asked, her tone polite, but still tinged with doubt. "No need," he replied. "I know it'll fit." Just then another clerk emerged from the back, older, with silver hair and a warm smile. He was carrying a stack of folded shirts, but the moment his eyes landed on the man, he froze. "Mr. Carter!" the older clerk exclaimed, his voice breaking the store's quiet hum. "I didn't know you were coming in today." Samantha's head snapped toward him. "You know him?" she asked, her voice a mix of confusion and sudden curiosity. The older clerk chuckled, setting the shirts down. "Know him? He's one of the owners." The words seemed to hang in the air, heavy and undeniable. Samantha's posture stiffened, her eyes widened, then darted back to the man standing calmly in front of her. Her smirk from earlier was gone, replaced by something else, a flicker of embarrassment, maybe even fear. Mr. Carter didn't gloat. He didn't even smile. He simply stepped closer to the counter and said in the same gentle tone he'd used from the start, "I told you. I just want to buy this suit." Samantha's cheeks flushed a deep red. I didn't realize," she stammered. You thought I couldn't afford it," he finished for her, his voice still calm. She swallowed hard. "I didn't mean—" "Maybe not," he said, "but that's how it came across." The older clerk glanced between them, clearly sensing the tension but saying nothing. Mr. Carter placed his wallet on the counter, the leather worn but well kept. "Ring it up, please." Her hands trembled slightly as she scanned the tag. The register beeped, the sound sharp in the quiet. She slid the suit into a garment bag, her movements slower now, more careful. When she handed him the receipt, he didn't take it right away. Instead, he looked her in the eye and said, "You know, Samantha, people don't always look like what they have, and what they have doesn't make them who they are." Samantha's eyes dropped to the counter. Her fingers fidgeted with the edge of the receipt, as if she could fold the moment away and pretend it hadn't happened. But the silence between them was too heavy to ignore. Mr. Carter's voice softened. "Let me tell you something," he said. She looked up, hesitant. "The first time I walked into this store," he began, "I was about your age, maybe younger. I didn't have much, just a job that barely paid the bills and a dream of looking sharp for an interview." He glanced around the store, his eyes lingering on the racks of suits. "I came in wearing clothes not much better than what I've got on now, and I remember I was nervous. I thought the people here would look at me the way you did today." Samantha's lips parted slightly, but she didn't speak. "But the clerk who helped me back then, she didn't see a broke kid. She saw a customer. She treated me like I mattered. She let me try on suits I couldn't afford, told me how good I looked in them, and even gave me a discount on a tie so I'd have something nice for my interview." He smiled faintly at the memory. "I didn't get the job, but I never forgot how she made me feel. Years later, when I had the means, I came back. I bought my first real suit here, and eventually, I bought into the business." Samantha's eyes widened slightly. "You own this place?" "Part of it," he said. "But that's not the point." He leaned forward slightly, his voice low but steady. "The point is, you never know who's standing in front of you. Could be someone with nothing. Could be someone with everything. But either way, they deserve respect. The older clerk, still standing nearby, nodded slowly. Samantha's gaze dropped again. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm not angry," he said. "Just remember this moment. It'll serve you better than any sales training ever will." The store felt different now. The air wasn't heavy with judgment anymore. It was heavy with reflection. Samantha's movements were slower, more deliberate, as she adjusted the garment bag and handed it to him. He took it with a small nod. "Thank you," he said. She hesitated, then replied quietly, "Thank you for the lesson." Mr. Carter adjusted the suit bag over his shoulder. The older clerk stepped aside, giving him a respectful nod as he made his way toward the door. The soft jazz still played in the background, but now it felt different, warmer somehow, like the store itself had shifted. Samantha stood behind the counter watching him go. Her hands rested on the polished wood, but her mind was clearly somewhere else, replaying every word, every glance, every assumption she'd made in the last half hour. Just before he reached the door, Mr. Carter paused. He turned slightly, his voice carrying easily across the quiet space. "You know, Samantha, the suit doesn't make the man, but the way you treat people, that says everything about you." She swallowed hard and nodded. "I understand," she said softly. He pushed the door open, and the small brass bell above it chimed. A gentle, almost nostalgic sound. Afternoon light spilled in, catching the edges of the suit bag as he stepped outside. The door closed behind him, and for a moment, the store was utterly still. Samantha let out a slow breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. The older clerk gave her a knowing look, not unkind, but weighted with experience. "First impressions," he said quietly, "can be expensive." She didn't answer. She just nodded, her gaze drifting to the spot where Mr. Carter had stood. Sometimes the richest thing a person can give you isn't money or gifts or even opportunity. Sometimes it's a lesson you'll never forget. And in that quiet boutique with the faint scent of leather and the echo of a closing door, Samantha learned hers. If Samantha and Mr. Carter's story inspired you, share this video with someone who needs to hear it today, because sometimes you can't judge a book by its cover. Its contents could change your very life.